Man, we look like an '80s cheesy sitcom with this opening.
Welcome. That's what we're going for. Welcome to another edition, or our first ever edition, post pay-per-view review show ish. I am one of the hosts here on the far right of the thing because I forgot to put myself in the middle. Marcus the Grand Finale, and I'm joined by a very tired Lord Manny. And
I could have just stayed still and just slept.
I know. I was about to give you an intro, but I was like, I don't know if he's awake.
let me do this one so no one can tell.
Yeah. All right. The commission's here, and then I'm also joined by Beefly himself, the hater. Eric is also here. How are you gentlemen doing in this glorious evening / morning for Manny? How you guys doing?
I'm here to talk about Payback, and I can't wait. You know, I have so many things to say, and I'm so glad that you guys invited me on this recap show. And Manny, shout out for staying up so late.
No time for chit chat for you, really.
Yeah. Yeah, literally it's like you're disappearing now in your image. Just like stuff is fading around because you decided to give yourself a background, and it looks like you're being eaten alive by your chair or something.
I never had a background before, so man, I'm just trying to do different things.
Did you CGI those orbs, or you tried to give you some muscles, or oh god?
Man,
all right,
I got muscles, man. That's pure fat, baby.
All right, let's just jump right into it. I know Manny's tired, so we're gonna talk about everything. The main event just occurred. We're gonna work our way kind of backwards through this. It was the triple threat match between Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, and the big dog with Paul Heyman in this main event. And Eric, I'm going to start with you to ask you, what were your feelings of this main event and the conclusion that Roman Reigns is the new champion?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. First and foremost, I thought this was an almost perfect pay-per-view.
Hold on, how are you keeping a straight face when you're talking like Hulk Hogan?
Let me tell you something, brother.
I'm full of, but you know what? Like I said, it was almost perfect pay-per-view, considering that this was a pay-per-view that only had a week worth of build. The main event, I thought, was probably one of the most lackluster of the whole show, but it was an ends to the mean. I thought Roman going away as a champion was probably the right thing to do. He is the big dog. The big dog is back. They protected the Fiend in the situation. I feel like we're going to get a storyline with the Fiend, Alexa Bliss, and Braun Strowman to have them phase out of the Universal title picture. Or is it the WWE title? I can't remember.
Universal, you got it right. You got it right.
Universal title. Yeah, so overall, I mean, the greatest thing is in the show chat. Manny called it, although it's 2 a.m. He said the ring is breaking tonight, and I want to give an AJ Styles, Bobby Roode pound to Manny for getting it right. There we go. Boom.
All right, Manny,
I did call that at midnight, and then it happened later on in the night.
You called it pre-show during the Iconics versus the Wyatt Squad, which I thought was a solid match. But Manny, the ring collapsed like you predicted. But was this a match that lived up to your expectations or anything along those lines?
No, I thought of every match that happened on the pay-per-view, I feel like this was the biggest disappointment because you could have done something quite big with this, and I feel like with all this retribution stuff, I feel like you could have thrown them in the mix, and you could have got the attempt of Otis trying to cash in out of the way, and then that thing's done. Like you could have just had a dominant Roman destroy him with Retribution, with Retribution trying to come in and try and destroy it, create havoc, and then Otis comes out and tries to cash in and stuff like that. That's how you get the thing off him. I would have done it.
Yeah, so your finish would have been a massive of everything happening. Not only is this the return of Roman Reigns to the ring, Fiend and Braun destroy each other, Retribution comes out, and then Otis cashes in. Who's your champion at the end of the night? Is it Otis?
Roman. He's still Roman. He's still walking out. Everything can leave.
Oh yeah, it would have worked with the shirt. Yeah. So I kind of agree with you guys a little bit. This was the biggest disappointment. One, I wanted Roman. I wanted to see new attire and new ring music. I wanted the Roman entrance, and I was expecting a big Roman entrance when he was coming out last. Didn't get that. You know, my imagination went wild. I went with full DMX. Like, I want him to come out with DMX, someone barking on the other end, just pure insanity. I thought the Braun and Bray stuff was okay. But it's just nothing. It was nothing new and nothing for me to cry home about. I thought the ring breaking was also a little unnecessary. And so, Eric, I'm going to point to you. Brandy brought up something about retribution. Are you disappointed that they did not show up tonight or in this main event?
I'm not disappointed by that, because if the whole idea of going to the show was for Roman Reigns to go over as the champion, or even if you wanted to have the Fiend go over as the champion, you don't want Retribution coming in, because if I'm booking, I don't let Retribution beat up those guys, because Roman Reigns will beat up all 5 of those people by himself, because he is the big dog. This is his yard. He has beat the Brock Lesnar's. He has beat the Undertaker's. He's beaten everybody in the house. These little 5 up-and-comers don't mean anything to the big dog. And as for the Fiend, I mean, he brought out that big mallet. That mallet could protect him if those Retribution punks would show up. The only people that could probably get it is Braun Strowman. And, considering, the reports that you read about Braun Strowman speaking with Vince because he was on the verge of suicide or something because he wasn't happy where his career was going, it was just a very interesting dynamic with the whole entire match for me.
I don't think that's a report. I think that's
that was on Chronicles.
That's on Chronicles, so that's on the WWE Network if you really want to check that out.
Yeah, it blew my mind when I read about it. I mean, for me, what I thought was going to happen in the match, I thought it was going to end up being Braun and Fiend fighting each other, and then next thing you know, after one of them win, the contract that Roman was going to sign was to have a one-on-one match with those individuals, but that didn't happen. What
By
about
the way,
yourself?
The current champion has entered the chat. Everybody, El Luchador has entered Mr. Pop to let it go. So yeah, I there's part of me that could see it ending with Retribution coming in and just doing all the work for Roman, and then Roman coming in and just getting the pin, kind of similar, I think, what Manny suggested. I can see that ending, and but it would have been over convoluted, in which they're trying to establish new heel Roman Reigns, in which he's late to sign the contract. He was using low blows. He did a million chair shots to Braun. He was screaming at the referee, talking about "get your ass here," and it was like "count, bitch," which was my favorite line of the night for no reason. "Count, bitch," and I was like, "That's the most pimping thing I've heard."
He wrecked everything. That's what he did.
Yeah, that's what he did.
So the right move, I felt, was to give the title. Also teased in this match was Alexa Bliss in a weird angle watching the monitors. I have never seen anybody look at TV as awkward as she looked at, and I've seen a lot of WWE programming where people look at TV odds. How do you feel about them teasing her involvement in this storyline, or do they continue with her and Braun? What is her dynamic, Manny?
I feel like it's quite interesting to see where this goes, because like you could see on SmackDown, like there was a definite character change. So like the week before she was very dismissive and stuff, and this week she was all happy-go-lucky type vibe from her almost now.
Yeah, I mean there were reports that they were going to use her at like SummerSlam and whatnot, and they decided to change that because Roman was coming back, and I feel still it was the right decision. And I prefer the slow burn. I'm more curious where it goes. Now, the next question, now that we're done with the main event, I'm going to ask you, what was your favorite...
I don't ask about Alexa Bliss.
You never do this to me. You always say I give you a different question. But go ahead, Eric. Talk about Miss Bliss. Talk about it.
I just have one quick thing to say. I just want to piggyback on what Manny said about the Harlequin situation with her and Mr. J. I really liked the scene when she was looking at the screen, and then you had the Fiend look at the screen, and it kind of looked like he could see that she was looking at him. That's just how I interpreted it at that point. And it was just like it's a storyline that I'm interested in. Alexa's character has been stale since she's been with Nikki. The whole Fiend needs something to distract him. I like it.
I think I got the tweet of the night from someone called Michael Hamflet. He said, if the Fiend could change the way people watch televisions backstage in WWE, I would finally believe in his magic powers.
That's real stuff. So one thing I want to bring up, following their match, I mean, he could change the TV thing, but another match you would bring up is the main roster pay-per-view debut of Mr. Keith Lee. and he was put over. And you guys can't see the image I'm looking at, other than unless you go to YouTube. But Ryan sent me this funny image of Randy Orton in I'm going to say African garb, which is a little ridiculous. That I have on the screen right now covering us. Oh, it's just a funny picture to me. Manny, what were your thoughts of Keith Lee versus Randall Keith Orton?
Solid match. Like a lot of the matches up until the end didn't disappoint, and this was a very solid match. And then we.
I know you're not looking at the feed, Eric, but you can this later. You can see us later.
Yes.
I'm just moving it around.
I've lost my point. Yeah, it's a very good match, and I'm glad Keith Lee got the clean win, and then I feel like they've almost righted some wrongs from the slight botch of a debut. But it was like I said on Tuesday, it was. It's too early to say he was botched, and not botched. He was buried on arrival.
It's okay, Manny. You're tired. It's all right. It's all right. Botch and buried sounds like the same thing, to be honest. Eric, I'm going to toss it to you. Randy Orton, Keith Lee. In a text message you sent that Vince must love himself some Keith Lee if he had Randy Orton win the way he did with the Spirit Bomb. But elaborate more on that.
Well, the entire match was booked with you recognizing Keith Lee's size. First, he came dressed out as a Legionnaire. I'm not exactly 100% sold on his outfit. I think it was better than what he showed up in Raw. I mean, he had his circuit board shoulder pads things going on, but he went back to the boxer briefs, which I wasn't a fan of it, but this looked better than the shorts. But what I would like a couple of the big man spots that they did, like when they did the chop spot with Magnum, wasn't his best Grizzly Magnum he's ever landed.
When did that start being called Grizzly Magnum?
Huh?
When did that start being called Grizzly Magnum, the double chops?
It's always been called that. Even when we walked the best of Keith Lee, they called it that. But I think the telling tale of when you realize how important Keith Lee is to WWE right now is when you think about what move he countered to get the powerbomb for the win. He literally countered the RKO, which comes out of nowhere, but he was able to block it and land his Spirit Bomb. And I would say for a big man having a powerbomb, the best powerbomb in the game. And respect to Randy taking that pin, because I think you just excelled Keith Lee to the moon, like Cameron Grimes, baby.
To the moon! To the moon. Manny, do you think Keith Lee is going to the moon? How did you feel about his attire and even the new music, the new generic rock music he has now?
I thought it had traces of some hip hop to it.
It was like that fusion, like that Limp Bizkit stuff.
Yeah, I think he's gone back to his original shorts, but he's still wrestling in the tight shirt, and I don't think we're going to get over that. So I think it's maybe no more time that he starts wearing Mark Henry's gear. Just call up Mark Henry. Can I borrow your gear? Yeah, you can.
I feel like that'd be too blatant. I see that the full Mark Henry leotard. I don't feel like it's a good look. I honestly enjoyed the look this week. Maybe because the green shorts, it was more similar to what he normally wears. And the whole leotard, the shirt, went better with those shorts than the previous, I guess, cut off, kind of split V, whatever he wore on Monday. So I thought the attire was better and his music was also better. Because it was generic rock music, but it had a little beat to it. And he seemed like a big star. I even enjoyed his coming to the ring attire. Those were Super Saiyan, I believe, blades he had on. Or Saiyan, Saiyan armor with the, I don't know what the
shoulder pads.
Yeah, the shoulder pads and I'm talking about the rest of his garb. The digital computer stuff. I don't know what that was about, but whatever. I was okay with it. He seemed like a big deal. That's what I think was the biggest thing to come across. I was shocked that he won this way. I thought he was going to win with the Big Bang Catastrophe, but do you think the Big Bang Catastrophe is good because Vince knows that it stands for the BBC? I'll toss it to Eric. Do you think the Spirit Bomb is his new finisher?
I think the Spirit Bomb sounds a lot better if you're going to market it to the casual fan, but also the BBC as a finisher move sounds great for hardcore wrestling fans because they're all perverts. Shit, we're all perverts, so it makes sense. It's like he hit him with the BBC. And it's like
No,
it's just
no.
I mean, I'm just glad that this match didn't have any outside interference from Drew McIntyre. I know they tried to say in the commentary that he had a hairline fracture from the punt and all that good stuff. I just like that they let this be clean. It might just be a one-off. Hopefully they can find a meaningful feud for Keith Lee after this. I hope it's not with the Hurt Business personally. But overall,
you don't want to wear black on black?
Yeah, I thought this was a very
So we've been clamoring that someone else join the Hurt Business, but I feel like Keith Lee is the final piece to that puzzle because he's the younger one and definitely can look like he's going to make the bigger impact.
Better than Apollo? Better than Apollo?
Yeah,
I think so because Keith Lee can talk a lot better. Keith Lee's ready, whereas like Apollo had that setback, which is given like almost. Like they're hot on him now, but like they still remember that first impression where he wasn't that great first time around.
And then also, Marcus, it gives you the opportunity to keep him out of like regular clothes or his nasty father sweats that he walks around in, because the Hurt Business, they always walk around in suits. So, when you're in a suit, no matter what size you are, you still come across as a badass on television.
But I don't want him to be with the Hurt Business. He seems like I can't imagine Keith Lee being a bad guy. The Hurt Business is a heel faction. I can't imagine this man, who we have told many times to stop fucking with me, to be angry.
You to stop fucking with me.
I can't imagine him being a heel. I think he's in line to be a babyface.
Marcus, I disagree with you. I disagree with you because the Hurt Business aren't bad guys. Marcus, you can't be bad guys if you're going to be at ringside like two fathers cheering on your son in his JV match against Apollo Crews. That's what
the oldest guy there, though.
That's what Shelton Benjamin and MVP looked like. Like, come on, baby. That was like his dad and his uncle. Like, come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can beat him.
Do that move I taught you. Do that move I taught you. Oh. But I still disagree. Manny, do you see him with the Hurt Business as well as a heel? Keith Lee?
Yeah, I think it adds dimension to Keith Lee. I'm tired of just seeing these one character type people, where it's just like Ray has always been a face. I need some edge to people. Like we're getting with Roman, we're getting some edge.
But Manny, let me ask you this question. Sorry, Marcus, but could Keith Lee get that edge if, say, he turns on Drew McIntyre?
Of course. Like they've already pinned him as trying to be friends. So like when they had that lockup thing, last week, they're trying to plant seeds that they're good friends, but we don't know their history. So I think they've got to go. I think they've got to let it play out a little bit longer before you obviously do that turn. But you know what I mean.
So here's where I'm going with this as well. I mean, they planted seeds that Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre are friends, and the whole iron sharpens iron and stuff like that. And Randy Orton has seemed to be the guy that Drew McIntyre is going to come back and get revenge on. Who is Drew's next opponent? Because if it's Randy, he just got his ass whooped by Keith Lee on pay-per-view, clean in the middle of the ring, no shenanigans around, and that kind of takes away the value of Randy. Other than this is going to be a blood feud between them. So is it Keith Lee and Drew, or is it Randy and Drew, or vice versa, or some weird combination? Manny, I'll toss it to you.
I think they still go back to Randy because there's obviously still a story there. I don't know if you throw Keith Lee that quick into a title match like that. Like I know he's been NXT champion, but that doesn't really translate onto Raw or SmackDown just like that.
Eric, who's your number one contender on WWE right now?
I still think it's going to be Randy Orton in this situation. I mean, every dog has a day, and I mean I don't mean that way as a racist.
Dang, you calling our black people dogs, man? You ain't shit.
Anybody can have a fluke win, and if you're Randy Orton, he can come out to the ring and say that's a fluke win and whatever. He can even go back the next night and get his heat back. I think you still stick with Randy Orton in this situation, and maybe at the end of the day, it becomes. The big dude. I can't think of his name. My mind went blank right now.
Baron Corbin. Otis.
Not Baron Corbin, Marcus. No.
Otis.
I'm talking about Keith Lee, Marcus. Maybe it's Keith Lee that costs Drew McIntyre his title against Randy Orton, because maybe they have some type of unholy alliance or something of that nature.
Hold on, you got trapped on Keith Lee when you're dressed like him at the moment.
I did, man. Because I'm having a very riveting chat about Captain Crunch with berries or without berries in the chat. So I was trying to think. I was trying to see.
I'm not paying attention to the chat. Are you with berries or without berries?
Marcus, I'm without berries. I've never been.
You a nasty motherfucker. You a nasty motherfucker.
I like those hard little crunches. I ain't had a bowl of Captain Crunch in almost 3 years, but that's what I like.
Isn't it like all sugar?
Yes,
it
is. Yes,
all cereal in America is all sugar.
Well, there's the mushroom. There's the Lucky Charms that's all mushroom right now. That's out. It's the greatest craze. It's all mushroom. No brown ones. They are eliminated the brown ones. That's just what Trump America wanted to do all this time. Eliminate the brown ones.
I never like no Lucky Charms.
I know. Moving on. We talked about the title picture. I just want to ask a quick yes or no question. Does Otis cash in on either one of these champions? Whether it's the Big Dog or Drew McIntyre or Keith Lee or Randy Orton or whoever. Do you guys have it? Yes or no?
No.
He'd be pretty stupid to cash in on Roman.
Well, he is kind of stupid.
I feel some way, somehow, he's going to lose it. Possibly, maybe you can involve Alexa Bliss in the storyline where she challenges Mandy to a match where Otis puts the money in the bank on the line in that match. It's something convoluted like that.
You're going all the way with this. You're like Mandy Rose involved. There's going to be some Jedi mind tricks and power struggles.
Keeping that money in the bank, man. He's not keeping it.
Otis will be the champion. You need to accept that. All right, so moving on. Speaking of people who can't hold titles and people who lose titles, we're going to move on to the Golden Role Models, in which Sasha has lost all of her belts now, and Bayley's down to one. It ends with Sasha choking out Bayley via a very complicated Shayna Baszler submission. Eric, what were your thoughts on this tag match with Nia Shayna looking like demolition versus the Golden Role Models?
Brother, you don't know how happy I went to me first on this one, because for me, this was my match of the night for Payback. For the simple reason, maybe I went into this match with no expectations whatsoever, but I was a big fan of pairing Nia Jax and Shayna together because I thought for whatever reason that can work, and on camera it works very well. They look like they're one of the most dominant tag teams that can be in the women's division. My only concern, and this is a very big concern, or did they look so good in that match because they were fighting Sasha and Bayley, or could they have a good match with anybody? Manny, I see you shaking your head. Go ahead and trash Nia.
Before I go to Manny, I just want to say you knew it was working good because Sasha and Bayley. Nia Jax had no intention of working good that night. She was wearing a Tamina shirt on the way to the ring. She had no intention. So Manny, I'll toss it to you. Eric says the best match of the night. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, before I give my opinion, Eric, if you were to give it a star rating, how many stars was it?
Well, Marcus is going to hate me when I give my stars. I would give it a 4.25.
That's stupid.
Because I have written proof that Marcus has claimed this is a 5-star match.
No! Oh my God! You're going to be a 10. That was before the match started. That was when she was wearing the Tamina shirt.
No. I've got that one. Because it just went from 5-star. They are all matching. Shayna and Nia look like demolition, and then I wrote 5-star fall off the apron.
I think it was the best match of the night. I mean, and arguably my number 2 match of the night was Riddle versus Corbin. But as you guys know, all these matches have all my guys in it, so it's no surprise that I'm a homer in this.
You got your bias. I mean, this was a night of Eric. All your favorite people wrestled tonight. Yeah, Orton and the role models and everything else like that. But realistically, Manny, are you really giving this 5 stars?
No. I think it's because we set the bar so low because Nia Jax was in it. So like anything they would have done, like remotely good, would have made it go, oh, that's really impressive. And I feel that the finish was actually something I've never seen before, and I thought that was really cool, and that was well thought out, and credit to them for actually pulling pulling a good match out of Nia Jax.
And Marcus, I know for the fact that you got to give it a couple of extra points because the post-match celebration when Nia Jax acting a damn fool, that's something that I know that you would do and something that you would appreciate.
Yeah, that Chuck couldn't get that interview. I really loved it. And the fact that Nia Jax was the one overly celebrated when Shayna basically did it by herself. It was no help. Nia Jax got elbowed and frog splash and got her ass whooped. And I have to throw in this critique because we always throw it at AEW. Sasha Banks never left that ring. I swear to God, she was just sitting in the ring for at least 5 or 20 minutes, just in the corner. The referee never threw her out. But it wasn't as noticeable or blatant. She never left that ring. But I thought it was really good. I would give it, it's either my favorite match of the night, it's probably my favorite, or second. I would give it a tie with the other tag match with Dominic and Seth and all them. I was entertained by that match. Maybe because my expectations for Dominic are so low. Or I enjoyed the father and son dynamic that both teams represented of good dad, bad dad. But moving to this match,
Seth is leaving that house. I don't think Buddy has a daddy anymore.
Oh, I think he has a daddy. All right, let's move on to Dominic. The Golden Role Models have nothing. This is going to lead to a turn. We all know. Sasha's going to turn on Bayley or vice versa. Who knows? We're all waiting for it. That's all we're waiting for. This may drag on to Survivor Series. Who knows? But we're not going to see them on Raw anymore. That's the number one thing. So moving on, Seth and Dominic and Ray and this tag team. I mean, it was a real father-son versus father-son match in which I consider Buddy Murphy the son of Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins just all grown up. They like got a time machine and just made them into it. And the disappointment in Seth's face. Huh?
So he's Trunks from Dragon Ball Z?
He's Trunks. He would be Trunks, yes.
He does look like a Trunks.
And Seth would be a good Vegeta. To be honest, it's just so spiteful, that little whiny voice, and how come Roman's the champion? I can just see him doing shit like that. But I enjoyed this match, and I thought they told a really good story. I think it told the best story of any match of the night. Manny, I toss it to you.
I liked the match, but I couldn't get behind Rey Mysterio, and very personal reasons. His attire,
Yes.
his attire resembled or looked like a tribute to Tatanka, and I could not get over that.
That's what you. I thought it was more Super Friends or Superman or something.
No. So you got to remember, Tatanka had that blue kind of thing on him, and then Ray had that red hilt on top of his head, that furry stuff on top of the mask. I'm like, no, he looks like Tatanka because Tatanka had that mohawk, and I'm like, I can't deal with this. Too much.
Tatanka, if you support Tatanka or love Tatanka, you get no love from this channel at all. If you're tuning in for the first time, you get no love from this channel because Tatanka is a sellout. Eric, how do you feel about Tatanka? I mean, the Rey Mysterio match in general.
You know, Marcus, when it comes to Tatanka, I have no feelings about Tatanka. I could care less. I don't. I don't hate the man. I don't like the man. But as for the Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio versus the Monday Night Messiah, it was a good match. I just hope it's over. I mean, I think this is good closure. I don't need them to touch each other anymore. I think we all need to move on from something else.
Breaking news, they're fighting tomorrow on Raw. They've been advertising that for a week.
That's what really happens. I guess I want it to be over, but apparently it's not over. I guess only can hope that Retribution shows up.
I'm going to jump in and say, I believe it's going to continue, and Raw is just going to escalate things. And tomorrow, I believe it happens. Buddy Murphy is on the outs. He is no longer Seth's son. Seth is not taking care of him no more. And now it's time for Seth and Dominic to ride these streets together. He going to jump in his lap. And I believe on this Monday on Raw, chair shot to Rey Mysterio back, similar to the Shield turn that Seth did. Manny, do you have the same feelings that Monday is the night that Dominic finally becomes a man?
I don't know. There's not enough for him to turn on Ray right now. It's not like there was a bad miss or like a miscue like there was between Seth and Murphy. So like, I don't know if it's time yet. It feels like it's too early.
He won the match. Why would he turn? He won.
Seth won the match against the Evolution before he joined them. Remember, he won. The Shield sweeped him at Payback.
I just don't think we need Dominic on television anymore. I think it's time for him to go someplace else. If you're going to put somebody on television, put Pat McAfee on television.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we've got Dominic doing a frog splash, and you've got Montez on the same show doing the 6-star frog splash. It's not
Yeah.
called that, but I'm giving it 6 stars.
It's 8.
Where do you go from that? Because it's exactly the same finish.
Hold on. Manny, you also had Apollo doing a frog splash in this match, and Sasha doing a frog splash match. This was a very frog splash heavy.
Yeah, but then they're not using them as finishers, whereas Montez and Dominic are.
Well, I'm for the Mysterios going for the tag team title. Going after the Street Profits. They are a legit tag team, even though he dresses it. If Dominic doesn't turn on Ray, the Mysterios need to go after the tag team. They go after the belts, and maybe they beat the Street Profits. Angelo Dawkins lose an eye or something in the process. He has to go away for it, goes on his own career, and move on. Him and Bianca and live happy ever after. And then they can feud with Andrade and Garza, who Ray has had beef with in the past. How you feel about that?
I'm okay with that. I mean, like, as long as it's not them touching Seth anymore, you just got to move on. I mean, because you got to figure out how to get Aleister Black back into the situation with Seth, because he did take out his eye too.
He's not with Seth though. He's fighting Kevin Owens. Do you want him to be aligned with Seth?
It's more powerful than Buddy.
Buddy didn't do that wrong. I mean, he really kicked him in the head for no reason.
Buddy didn't do nothing right either.
Buddy messed up. They did that one tangent move, okay? They slid Rey Mysterio out onto Buddy's knees. Buddy was right there to get those knees up. Buddy was right there, Eric. He did something right. He just messed up the finish. Moving on to the next match. It's the only white-on-white American crime of the night, involving Matt Riddle versus Eric Boy, Baron Corbin, in which it starts off with Baron Corbin doing the most perfect clothesline in the history of wrestling. As the pyro ends, his clothesline hit, and I thought it was well timed. Manny, how'd you feel about Eric's Boy, Baron Corbin, and Matt Riddle?
It was a good match. It was a really good match, but I feel like it's time for a refresh for Baron Corbin. Like, it's been a year since he's been king. We need a new king. We need another king in the ring, because we all love tournaments. Maybe he tries to defend his throne in the King of the Ring. I'd quite like that, and justified to be still carrying himself as called king, but I feel like his character's gone a bit stale.
Yeah.
What would you say, Eric?
I think Baron is the best heel in the business, but I would agree this whole king gimmick is holding him back, because you're constantly trying to keep throwing these king aspects into him when he just needs to be an ass kicker who he needs to be very similar to kind of how like Roman is being built, but we all know he's going to be fair to the big dog. I just think that like I want to see more from Baron, and I thought this was a good match. I thought Matt Riddle looked really good in this match, and that's like the thing with Matt Riddle. It's like 1 minute I like him, then 5 minutes later I can't stand him, and like I feel like he's more bad guy than he is good guy, but he is the original bro. Marcus, what about you? What did you think of this match? I know how you hate Baron Corbin.
Well, Baron Corbin got his guys back, to carry him out to the ring. So I don't think this king gimmick is going anywhere anytime soon. I feel like it's a never-ending story. I've begged for this gimmick to end, because when they showed Baron Corbin in like his regular, like he's a really good dresser outside of the wrestling. Like when he showed up to the arena, he has his hats and like nice suits. Or when you watch the WWE, the WrestleMania, whatever they call it, Tampa, the one they had doing the Performance Center, he pulls up in Ferrari. He seemed more hateable in that little moment than he has as king. Just pulling up in a Ferrari, and he had his nice outfit on. He was like, it's just good to be the king, man. And I was like, that's the Baron Corbin I want on TV. I thought it was a solid match. And I thought both people did well, but it's nothing that I'm going to be like, man, they really needed to have this match. Manny, how'd you feel? Or did I go to you already?
You went to me. I think you could hear it.
Oh. Well, does anybody have anything else to say about this match?
Mark, I want to point out what we did right there was something that it has not really been done in many trios in a long time. We all threw it to each other. From you threw it to Manny, Manny threw it to me, and I threw it back to you. It was a very good trio move right there, Marcus.
Yeah. Hold on. Something bad just happened, I think.
What?
I don't know. My computer just blinked. Blinked. Like off, blinked. But everything, it came back on and everything seems to be fine.
I personally can't wait for you to get your MacBook Pro.
That was literally scary right now. Like, what just happened? All right, so anyway, we talked about the Hurt Business a little bit earlier, but Apollo has lost the title to Bobby Lashley with his uncle's chair outside. Do you feel like this was a necessary title change to take the belt off Apollo already? And I'm going to toss it to, let's go with Eric first.
Thank you, sir. Yes, send Apollo back to catering. I thought Apollo made great strides with his character and all that, but I think you make more money right now with Bobby Lashley being your champion because you got to eventually build him up to maybe challenge Drew again or challenge whoever the champion may be. And I just think that Apollo is a nice story, but it just doesn't make sense to me. You bring out your crew one time, but then your crew never shows up again. So I'm not really sure what's going on with Apollo. Manny, Apollo losing the U.S. title, how do you feel about that?
I think it just adds more dimension again to his character. So, like, at least he tried. When a face tries to get their heat back, it's not their heat, is it? It's their cool.
It's a whiny. No, it's a whiny bitch move. Like, I feel like that was a very whiny bitch move.
But like, I didn't get the camera spot. I thought it would have been funnier if you got slow motions of Apollo about to attack him, which would have made that thing more funnier. But then, I think it's more better that Apollo actually chases Lashley for that title back again. I feel like it'd be an interesting dynamic, but I don't know where they go from there.
Well,
but his uncles and his daddy will know.
Yeah, but considering that was a heel move for him to try to attack an MVP out there screaming, I tried to teach him. I tried to pull him in the fold. I tried. Do you think that he has any chance of joining the Hurt Business? And I go to Manny. Ping pong back to Manny. Oh, wrong way.
I think he's lost. I think MVP's taken that invitation and ripped it up now. He's moved on. He's kept the door open for what's his name?
Cedric.
Cedric, yeah, for Cedric.
Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah, he's kept the door open for Cedric. I don't know what he sees in Cedric that he doesn't see in Apollo anymore.
Well, Apollo's bald. Cedric has hair. I don't know.
Well, I will if Marcus, if you don't mind, I don't want to.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Step on toes. Not the Bigfoot. Not the Bunyan.
You would take Cedric in this situation for 2 reasons. A, he's young. And 2, he's the one thing that's the Hurt Business doesn't have. He's the pure athletic, quick, agile member of the team. Yes, you can argue and say that Shelton Benjamin is that member, but Shelton Benjamin is kind of like that medium right then and there. He's like he's the switch army knife. He can do a little bit of everything. Bobby is the muscle. MVP is the brain. You need some speed. Cedric is a perfect fit. And if I had to pick who would I like to see push more, I would probably pick Cedric over Apollo.
What do you feel about
Jen thinks Cedric is going to cave in.
Yeah, I feel like they've been romancing him. You know, they've been romancing Cedric, right? Like, yeah. He's sending them emails, gifts, and presents. But do you feel like it could be a swerve in this, and that, you know, as we brought up Tatanka earlier, and even the taste in my mouth disgust me for even saying Tatanka. Do you think it could be a swerve, and they put Ricochet in that group?
Oh, I don't even think Ricochet fits in that group.
Richard O'Shea doesn't fit.
Well, Ricochet has the guy's ass beat by him yet. But you talk about you need fast and agile. I mean, I think he can pick. He's not the. Cedric is a better talker than Ricochet, and I'd rather have MVP talk for him than Cedric talk for, Ricochet.
Marcus, if Cedric doesn't get into the Hurt Business and Richard O'Shea gets in there, that's the end of Cedric's career. He's going to go to AEW. It's simple as that. He's going to go fight with his wife, Big Swole. I think that I think the no-brain, like, you have to put Cedric in the Hurt Business if you're going to put anybody else in the Hurt Business.
I'm with Richard O'Shea going in. I'm Richard O'Shea.
Nah, you're
no, Marcus. No.
You guys just don't want no light-skinned brothers in the Hurt Business, all right?
Stop trying to put an Owen Hart, but still keep him black in the Hurt Business.
Now that you bring that up, who would, if you were to put in an Owen Hart, who would it be?
Oh,
Okay, if I were to put an Owen Hart, honestly, and it has to be on the Raw roster, right? Because we're not doing any draft or anything, right? It has to be a Raw roster. So, all right, I got it. I'm going with Ivar. I'm going with Ivar. Ladies love Ivar. Would join that group. And you can just see him being the ladies' man in the group. And I know it will make no sense. But I'm going with Ivar in the Hurt Business. You put him in a suit, and the ladies already love him. I'm going with Ivar.
Manny, why do you have my brother dig himself a grave? Ivar ain't won a match in almost 6 months, man. In almost 6 months, he ain't won a match. I would not go with Ivar.
So who's your Owen in? Yeah, who you got?
Because I gotta go with somebody that got some type of talent and who can benefit from it and would fit the narrative of being in the Hurt Business. Good. I'm gonna go with Aleister Black. I'm gonna put Aleister Black with everybody. He's gonna either be with Seth, he's gonna be with the Hurt Business. He's going everywhere.
So you're gonna put the Black with the Blacks?
We've already put him there. I mean, why not? But like I said, I don't want that to happen. I want Cedric Alexander to get a chance because
Black Lives Matter
is by far one of the best in-ring people that they have, but he has like no charisma, no je ne sais quoi. He has nothing, and being a part of the Hurt Business can help him so much. He can go hang out with his uncles and his daddy. That's what he can do.
Okay,
that's what he can do.
All right. Does anybody have? Oh, Manny, who's your Owen? Before we move on,
I'm gonna call up a dead man at the moment.
You can't call a dead man.
I can't call a dead man. He could be drafted to Raw.
Which dead man? They've killed a bunch of people this year, like Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows. Still don't know what happened to them.
Dominic Dijakovic.
Oh, that's an interesting choice. I didn't even consider him, considering that he died this year. You're right. So Dominic Dijakovic.
Last 2 weeks he'll get jumped out.
But he needs a mouthpiece. He needs somebody to, control all that mass of men that he is. He's like 7 feet and awkward looking, and he doesn't really say much. He's like, Keith Lee told me to say this. Very robotic. Feast on his eyes. Man, count these dollars. Feast these dollars on these eyes. You can see him doing the money sign. That's a good choice. I still like Ivar, though. Ladies love Ivar. I would call him Ladies Love Ivar, too. Just leave Eric in the underground.
I just want to point out, Marcus, we're just dealing with this nonsense because we have that stupid Bachelorette girl on week in and week out. Don't know her name. I'm sick of this angle with Garza in them. I mean, if you know what, you can put Garza in the group for all I care, but not Ivar.
Eric, she reminds me of the Instagram model from who was hanging around the Phoenix Suns, if you know what I mean, because she's been doing well back there.
7 at a time, superstar treatment. Who gets to go
Dawkins,
first?
Angelo, and Garza are all chasing her. She's from the Bachelor. I think it was Demi. I forget her name. Anyway, did you guys enjoy this match? By the way, I don't know if I even asked the question. The Apollo and Lashley. Thumbs up. It was alright.
But what made you call it mediocre?
Me?
In the group text, yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just that it didn't have that second gear for me. Like, I really never felt like there was nothing at stake. Like, I know the title was on the line, but I think going in, I knew that Bobby Lashley was winning this match. It's like it just had all the writing on the wall. And I really thought that it was going to be some more distraction from MVP and Shelton, but literally they gave Bobby a clean win to become the U.S. champion. And it was like, okay, I know we have to start the show off some way. Let's just go with that.
Manny, do you agree with Eric's mediocre thoughts or subpar thoughts?
No, I really enjoyed this match. It told a great story. Both Lashley bumped for him really well. Like, he made Apollo look good, which is rare. and Apollo had extra dimensions to his own character where he actually was looking good for a change. Like, he hasn't really had that in the past.
Yeah, I agree.
It was nothing like, it was not like a 5-star match or anything, but it was a great opener.
Okay, so I'm not gonna say it was a bad match. It was a good match, solid. Everybody did work. Now the real question is, who had the better match, Sheamus and Big E, or Apollo and Lashley? And I know, Manny, you're the biggest Big E supporter on this ride, this big push that Big E is getting. The next WWE Universal Champion, Big E, or maybe even Intercontinental Champion. Who knows where it goes? How did you feel about him and Sheamus overall?
I really like this match. This was probably one of my favorite matches, but that's biased because I really like Big E at this moment. But like, it added more to what Big E does, and like, you don't often see Big E have to sell like limbs and stuff because he's normally just a power guy in a tag match and comes in and just for the hot tag. Yep. But like, I didn't even know Sheamus had this deep of a ground game.
He got really technical. He was like, "I'm working your angle. I'm gonna do a heel hook." Like, when did he get a heel hook? I thought he was gonna tap in the heel hook.
And then he brought back something I hadn't seen in a long time, the Texas Cloverleaf, which is an amazing finisher.
No, it wasn't the Cloverleaf. It wasn't the Cloverleaf. He did like the sharpshooter came around and bend him or something weird like that, right?
And then I just didn't really get, because it kind of felt really odd and really awkward at the end when he's just yelling at Corey.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. It was like Corey was talking shit in the back. It's like, "You'll never be nothing, Big E. I told you. He was talking to everybody. I think that would have been better if Miz was at ringside just watching and he was telling him so they could build whatever feud they were building on Talking Smack. Eric, what were your thoughts on Sheamus and Big E Langston? I gave him his last name back.
Well, these are once again two of my favorite wrestlers in the game right now, Sheamus and Big E. I thought Big E coming out in his Nickelodeon-inspired tights really helped saying that he's not going to change who he is. The words on there said "meat slapping meat," which is even more hilarious to me. But I also
meat on meat.
I love the psychology of this match because, like, the thing was, Sheamus made Big E look like a star, and he sold the size of Big E. Because Sheamus, when he first came back, he was always talking about there's no men in WWE anymore. But now, like, this is the first time that we had to see that ground game that Sheamus has been practicing in hiatus, because he had a competitor that he wasn't ready for. And it just was like a very physical match. I could see some parts where Big E had a little trouble lifting Sheamus and vice versa. But overall, I thought it was two professionals that got into the ring. They did their thing. Big E got the win. Very good win for Big E. No big loss for Sheamus, and we move on.
Well, Sheamus is on a bit of a losing streak, and I don't feel like Sheamus can be hurt because we know what Sheamus is. He's the bruiser. You fight him. He's more of like a gatekeeper of like he's really enhancing a lot of people and elevating people. I enjoyed the match. I thought it was really physical. I thought they sold a good story with Big E selling like the knee and Sheamus working on particular body parts. The best singles match of the night for me, even though I almost forgot it right now, but it was really good. And I thought it was a contrast in the views. But the main question is, where does Big E go next? He seems to be fighting up the ranks. Does he go after Miz? Is he going after, is he going to involve himself in that intercontinental thing they have going on over there? Whatever's going on with Sammy and them. Manny, where are you seeing Big E next?
Well, this is a weird one because you can't throw him in that title picture against Roman because you know he's not going to succeed. So yeah. It's almost like, do you try and get him to get that that Money in the Bank lunchbox of Otis for him to get a sneak cash in because the monsters are playing now, or does he stick in the mid card and go for the IC title? But there's already that mess of who's the champion. Yeah. We know who the champion is, but like,
Sammy's claiming to be still one. Eric, how do you feel? Should Big E go after the big dog, and would that enhance his value into a singles competition? And when Big E attacks, he's going after. I guess I'm gonna say Roman's the top heel in the company. Do you think that helps him?
So I'm gonna revisit something that you guys said earlier in the show because I don't think at this moment
you can't say shit.
you can't put the big dog yet because he is the heavyweight champion and the big dog creates ratings. And I also think that you can't really touch Jeff Hardy in this situation because he is also someone that prints money. And so what we really need to do is that we need to establish Big E as a singles comparator. So one of the best ways to go about doing it, and you kill two birds with one stone, is that you redo the King of the Ring tournament. Whereas a series of singles matches, you have Big E run the table. He becomes the new king. He has that personality to carry that king monitor and even can mock Booker T in the to get shots back. And then that way you give him a title. without affecting any of the other people in the situation. That's how I would book it.
No, that's
Shout
impressive.
shout out to JBL calling out Booker T on the pre-show this
Yeah.
evening. Really great. Really
It
great.
was nice. It was nice. JBL was
when you anytime you throw that spinneroonie at him, whenever he's trying to when he's trying to call out young black men trying to do their stuff in wrestling, I feel like yes, get him. You deserve
yeah,
it.
dude, you a GI bro. Get over it. Oh, but you know, I enjoyed the storyline Eric came up with Big E winning the King of the Ring and all that. I can see him having one of those fake matches with Roman. You know, like it's a match, but it's just something to like say, oh, he's arrived. You get no finish, and other stuff happens because Roman currently doesn't have an opponent. There is no top babyface on SmackDown right now, considering everything that's going on. But you know, I don't know where Retribution is going to end up in all this. And is Big E the leader to fight Retribution? Would you consider that?
Well, if the leader of Retribution is The Miz, yes, because you can have the finals for the King of the Ring be The Miz versus Big E, since they've already had this type of tension between each other. I think that
this King of the Ring ain't happening, buddy.
I know it ain't happening, but it's just things where it's like I think it's a way that you can really establish Big E as a singles competitor, because going in like beating Sheamus is good, but he might go back on Raw and lose again. So I don't know. I guess the other option is you can have Big E take the Money in the Bank away from Otis. I mean, I think we all at this point want Otis not to have the Money in the Bank anymore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I honestly thought because AJ came back to SmackDown, at some point he was going to reference that. I had it, and it just fell out of my hands, and you caught it.
Maybe he'll make that argument later, and then he'll get it back. Because I do feel like that's one of the main problems on SmackDown, is that they don't have that top babyface guy. Especially since Roman is now the heel. He is the bad guy in the show.
Roman. He is not a heel. He's just Roman.
He's a heel, Eric. He hit somebody in the nuts today and took advantage of two people who were killing each other and came in without even undressing for the match and won the match.
That is a reflection of society. He's taking shortcuts to get accomplishments, man.
He has new teeth. He's evil. Anybody with good teeth like that is evil. Guarantee you. Just look at Charlotte Flair. Just look at Charlotte Flair. She got good teeth, evil. Roman Reigns got good teeth, evil. They're all evil.
Well, nothing about Charlotte Flair's real anymore.
Ooh.
She's becoming like Voldemort. Everything's becoming a Horcrux.
Wow. Harry Potter.
Oh, man. I know. I can just see, you know, no, I'm not gonna even make that reference. That's just offensive.
Don't do it, Mark.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But Andrade's a Horcrux. That's all I'm going with. All right. Final thoughts for the show. What do you got? Eric? What were your overall thoughts of the show? Did you think it was a good show? Great show? Was it necessary show?
Like for me overall, I thought this was a really good show. I think the biggest disappointing thing is that they didn't have enough of a proper build. 1 week to build up a show is not good. But however, in this climate, in this world, I mean, it was a very good night for people of color. I mean, people of color really represented with wins and victories, and it wouldn't be me on this show without saying that AEW can't do anything like that. We saw what they did with Scorpio Sky versus Cody Rhodes. So, I mean, I really enjoyed this show. I didn't expect anything from Payback, and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. Manny, how about you?
I really enjoyed Payback. Like, yeah, I agree with you. Like, it didn't have much build to it, but I feel like a lot of some of these feuds were the feuds that didn't actually make it to SummerSlam. So it almost feels like you got a secondary payoff. It was only like 2 matches that kind of came from SummerSlam, because you knew the Bailey and Sasha one was coming in from it, which is the ongoing beef, and then obviously the controversy with Roman coming back. And I think those are the only things that really properly carried over from SummerSlam, and it felt like a fresh show. We got some new people go over, so I feel like this is a good building point for them. But I know it's just going to be a staggering building point.
Yeah,
so how do you feel, Marcus?
I thought it was a solid show. It didn't really have the big build, but it was continuation of a lot of storylines. Like, I feel like that, even though this happened a week after SummerSlam and we had similar matches from SummerSlam, it didn't feel like a repeat of SummerSlam. Like, I feel like it was a solid show where you had good matches with good dynamics and everybody told decent stories. And there were some blow-off feuds that may be in. Like Corbin and Riddle might be over. I don't know. Oh, no. He attacked him and he got his heat back. But I think, over time, considering their next pay-per-view, I don't know what's going on outside this window with people blowing horns. But I thought it was a solid show. If I were to grade things, which I really don't, I give it a thumbs up.
That's not even.
So you're great. That's
great. You like a check plus, man.
I give you a check. I don't like doing numbers and letters because it gets convoluted when I give something a C when I'm like, but it was better than that show to be. What are you gonna say, Eric?
Let me just say that I do really like where they're going with the women's tag team division. I think that's a very important and very intricate thing that they're working on, because we didn't mention it, but in the pre-show we had the Iconics go against the Riot Squad, and now the Riot Squad are officially back together. And in so many ways, I can see them being the ones that will eventually dethrone Nia Jax and Shayna when they implode on each other, because they can't stay. It's the undeniable force that will become the uncombustible force, and there's nothing more. Yes, I've been champion for Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai to get those tag belts, but I don't know if Nia Jax and Shayna are going to be doing the traveling that Bayley and Sasha did, and I'm kind of disappointed that Sasha and Bayley won't be on my Monday night.
Eric, what travel? They're all in Florida at the same location.
Marcus,
there ain't no travel.
Marcus, I like to believe when I watch Monday Night Raw, when I watch NXT, and when I watch SmackDown, there's traveling involved. Don't take that away from me, Marcus. Don't take it away, please.
Okay, if you want, with the tag team division, they have built this women's tag team division better than any time in history have they built a men's tag team division in the WWE. It's really shocking that we have at least 3 real tag teams, and WWE has never got that far on one show. Never. There's only 2. The people fight for the belt, the people who have the belt, and they're probably a makeshift tag team between them.
Now I have a question for you, Marcus.
Yeah.
With Payback, does it make you look forward to Monday Night Raw tomorrow?
Not really. There's nothing really carried over for Raw other than the Keith Lee Randy Orton victory. This was more of a SmackDown show. There was not really anything on Raw because Ray and Seth they already announced we're fighting. And there was nothing else advertised. I have no reason to tune into Monday Night Raw tomorrow. It didn't make me go, I gotta tune into Raw because the Big Dog's not on there. Heyman and the Big Dog are on SmackDown. I gotta wait till Friday for that. Manny, same question. What do you feel?
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm more interested on what's going on SmackDown at the moment. Everything big seems to be happening on SmackDown, so it makes more sense to that. There was nothing really to carry over. I feel like they should have done something to carry over into Raw, but they didn't. I feel like that might have been the perfect spot for Retribution to ruin a match for Raw, so you have a reason to watch something that happened on Raw. But right now, there's no reason to go. Yeah, I definitely need to tune in because there's no real massive fallout. Because you didn't have a WWE champ, you didn't have the WWE champion on the show at all. He's out injured, so there's no real reason to watch. Randy lost clean to Keith Lee, so there's no janky finish there. So. Tell me the reason I need to watch Raw tomorrow, other than we have to report on it on Tuesday. But
yes, none of that. It's Raw's gonna happen. We're gonna get the Underground again, and Bobby Lashley's champion, but it's nothing really going on. So you had no tag team championship matches on this, or I don't even remember who the SmackDown champions are. Oh, it's the championship now. So sorry, I know. Just merge the tag team titles, man. Besides bullshit. But that's it. I got nothing else to say about this show. Do you guys have any closing statements? I got nothing. We can end it right now. Manny can get some rest. Or we can get some payback and keep the show going until Manny passes out.
I want to commit Manny. It is almost 2:40 in the morning, and he's on this podcast talking about professional wrestling.
Where are you getting 2:40 from?
Well, because you said it was after 2, so it's 7:40 right now. So I'm assuming.
So we've been on an hour. So
have we been on an hour?
3:40. It's 3:40
now. Well, damn. Well, with that note, no one needs to be up at 3:40 because the sunlight is going to start coming in. You won't be able to go to sleep. So, on that point, I will shut up.
Good job, Eric. I'm glad you.
Randy Orton is really distracting.
It is. And it is my favorite picture ever because I don't know why it looks natural.
I just
what would you do if Randy Orton was the 4th member of the Hurt Business wearing that?
It would make so much sense.
I would question Vince McMahon's sanity at that point. And Randy Orton and MVP and him was like, why does he gotta wear this daishiki strap? I don't know, and his hat. Why does he need this? He's over there. Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
Mark, I'm assuming you watched Payback with Ryan. Did he enjoy it or did he care? Because I know he was tweeting some things, but I don't pay much attention to him.
It'd been nice if he tweeted out, "Hey, we're doing a live roundtable," but he had business for himself.
It'd be nice if he gave us that account back, but
yeah, it would be. It would be. But for some reason, he seemed to enjoy it. He seemed to be like, "Yeah, it was a good show," or something.
Manny, no, because you get to make yourself famous with your own account. I think that's more important.
No, I don't really want to make that account famous because the less I have to do on it.
Yeah. Shout out to the new Reddit account we have. We have a new Reddit. Reddit.com/the_Sharpshooter_DS, right?
So it's the Sharpshooters DSPN, no spaces in between anything. If you want to check us out on Reddit, it's just a place if you want to talk and stuff like that. You can talk there, and then I'm more likely to see it than on a YouTube comment.
Because Eric has no idea how to use Reddit, but that's okay. I'm old.
Senility! All right, that should be
and there's also like a live chat room in there as well if you wanted to talk. If you guys all wanted to talk in there as well.
Ooh.
Sorry, brother. Ready to go.
Guys, I'm Marcus the grand finale. I'm ending the show right now. After that, I don't need to see all that. And I'm always joined by
Lord Manny Hayes.
And I'm the special guest, the hater known as Beef Lee or Beef E. That's what I am right now. Beef E. Yes.
Don't you disrespect Big E.
Tune in on Saturday. We don't know what Saturday show is going to be. We have no idea.
It's like a Monday Night Raw every week where all the dirt sheets are writing, I don't know what's going to be on the card. Vince is changing the script all the time. Who knows?
We don't know if you're going to be there. That's the real question.
That's an interesting question.
Who knows? Marcus might not be there on video, but he can always call me on my phone and we can have a conversation with him via phone. So his streak of never missing the show keeps going.
Yeah, who knows? So long, everybody. Have a good night. Good evening. Take care now.
Peace.
Goodbye.
Check out Marcus here, man. He should. I hate you both right now. You guys are ridiculous.